With the 2024 offseason starting to slow down, I thought I would share my biggest winners and losers from this offseason. I'm going to make a long intro, so let's just get into it. I'm starting the video off positively. I'm going to start with a winner, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. After what was a incredibly disappointing into the season, you started 10-1 and finished 11-7 and got first rounded in the playoffs by a 9-8 team who barely snuck in. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. They completely threw away their division, so they addressed the positions of needs. As much as DeAndre Swift's stats might tell you, he wasn't all that last season. So they went and severely upgraded with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley behind that offensive line is going to be insane. And then they also added CJ Gardner Johnson, well, brought him back from his 1 year hiatus from Philly. Their secondary was one of the worst in the league last year, especially towards the end. So adding a player of that caliber definitely helped them. So that's my opinion on the Eagles. Next up is our first loser, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers, specifically Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's coming off one of the worst years of his career. It was still pretty good considering the circumstances, and then it abruptly ended due to an injury. Well, what do the Chargers proceed to do? They proceed to get rid of his three best weapons. So coming into this season, before the draft, I think they are going to draft a receiver, and they're at pick 5, and I like this receiver class. They are coming in with a receiving core of Joshua Palmer, Quinton Johnson, and Donald Parham, I think, as their tight end. He might not even be the tight end. He might have left. When in before, they had Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Gerald Everett, who were all pretty good pass catchers for them. So it made no sense to me why. Okay, getting rid of Mike Williams, you were in a tough spot when you had to free up cap, but it made no sense to me why then get rid of Keenan Allen. You're not helping your quarterback here. Justin Herbert's great, but he can't do it all by himself. I'm a big Herbert believer. This man is top 5 or borderline top 5 of quarterbacks. I just don't understand what the Chargers were thinking, getting rid of every single weapon he had. Up next, we have the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is coming into one of the best systems a number one overall pick has ever stepped into. You already had DJ Moore, so what do? You add Keenan Allen on the side of him, making one of the best receiving duos in the league. They lost Darnell Mooney, which concerned me a bit, but then they replaced him with someone better, so it's like whatever. And then they proceed to go on and they sign DeAndre Swift to hopefully help that run game. I know I slandered Swift a bit, but he is much better than what they had last year. So if I'm Caleb Williams, I am thrilled to be going to Chicago because they're a really good team. Like they're surrounding him with a lot of talent. Up next for my losers section, I don't think I could go this video without talking about the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos were a mess last year. Even when on a 5-game winning streak, they were so unbelievably sketchy. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton were never on the same page. Sean Payton looked fed up by Russell Wilson by the end of the year. He was a straight bully to Russell Wilson. So what does he do? He cuts him and takes the $85 million dead cap hit. Makes so much sense. I get you weren't on the same page with him, but come on. And then at your current draft position, you can't take one of the top guys, and it doesn't look like you're making a move to try to trade in. Are you settling for JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix? Like, what is the plan here? You cut a fan favorite of Justin Simmons to try to free cap after you know you had to take an $85 million cap hit from Russell Wilson. And so your secondary is getting significantly downgraded. And then you go on and trade Jerry Jeudy, who has been average for them, but they traded him for nothing. And it's just like, oh my, I don't know what the direction the Broncos want to go in. They're obviously tanking, but at some point it's like, what are you just expecting to be the worst team in the league next year? It sure looks like it. For my final winner of this video, although there's plenty of teams I thought had good off seasons, this is like these were the teams I thought had pretty much A plus off seasons. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. They didn't really do much. They didn't make any. They didn't go for quantity. You're not going to have this list of people that they got. You know what they did do? They got Kirk Cousins. And regardless of what you want to say about Kirk Cousins, first of all, last year he was on pace to have a career year before his Achilles injury. Second of all, he is so much better than they had last year. And in a relatively easy division, they remember the winner of that division went 9-8, and the Falcons went 7-10, despite having Arthur Smith as their head coach, despite having Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke at quarterback. We're having a new regime that will use Bijan Robinson, use Kyle Pitts, use the talent they have, and a massive upgrade at quarterback. All you needed was an upgrade at quarterback, and now you're competing in the NFC. You're one of the best teams in the NFC after that move. And you still have the draft, which you can address defensive or offensive needs. And moving on to my final loser, it's the Arizona Cardinals, and especially Kyler Murray. I get that you have the fourth overall pick, meaning that you were in position to most likely take Marvin Harrison Jr. or at worst Malik Neighbors, but you can't just let both of your receivers go. You lost your top two guys in Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore, which I don't understand the Rondale Moore trade at all. Like, what are you getting out of Desmond Ritter? Getting a backup quarterback who probably, if he has to see the field, it's over for y'all. And Rondale Moore was not a bad receiver. He wasn't something elite, but he was much better than we're going to be throwing out there. You can't give Kyler Murray one receiver to throw to. And I like Marv a lot. Marv is already a top 20 receiver in this league, and he hasn't even stepped foot in this league. But you can't give him one guy to throw to. You have to give him multiple options, because then that just leads to the question, why don't we just double team Marv? Now I get it, they have Trey McBride, so they have another guy for him to throw to, but that's it. You have Marv and Trey McBride, and you might not even get Marv because the Patriots might take him, and now you're at Neighbors, which no offense to Malik Neighbors, but he's not as good as Marv. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, I really didn't like how the Cardinals approached this offseason. It wasn't a good offseason for them. And that's going to be all for my winners and losers of free agency. If you guys want more free agency content, draft content, make sure to like, subscribe, and notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.